The rain had been falling for hours, the kind that didn't just soak the ground, it swallowed the night whole. Drops hammered against the car, roof like a million tiny fingers tapping impatiently. Elena Carter, 32, drove through the dark country road with both hands gripping the steering wheel tight. Her GPS flickered weakly, the blue dot lagging every few seconds. She cursed softly. "Come on, don't die on me now," she muttered. She had been driving for nearly 5 hours, away from the noise of the city, away from people, and maybe away from herself. The storm made the world outside vanish. The trees swayed violently, their branches scraping against the car like claws. Finally, through the blur of rain, the headlights revealed a gate, tall, rusted, and half open. She stopped the car. The wind howled through the gap, almost as if whispering her name. "Elena." Her breath caught. She shook her head, forcing a nervous laugh. "Just the wind," she said aloud, trying to sound braver than she felt. The house beyond the gate loomed in darkness. It was an old Victorian mansion, its windows black, its roof sharp and uneven. The paint was peeling, vines crawled up the walls, and a single porch light flickered weakly. She had seen the house only once, in a picture sent by the real estate agent who barely spoke 3 words before quitting her job. It was cheap, huge, and isolated, perfect for a woman trying to disappear. Elena pushed the gate open. The metal screamed against the storm. As she stepped out of her car, the cold rain hit her face like shards of ice. She pulled her coat tight and ran up the stone steps to the door. The key turned with a heavy click. The door opened with a groan and a long, low sound that echoed through the hollow halls beyond. She flicked the light switch. Nothing. Of course. The house smelled of old wood, dust, and something faintly metallic, like rust or maybe blood. Her flashlight beam cut through the darkness. The hallway stretched long, lined with portraits whose faces were too faded to recognize. The floor creaked under her boots, every sound amplified by the emptiness. She whispered, "Home sweet home," though her voice trembled slightly. In the living room, she set her suitcase down beside a large mirror, tall, framed in black iron. The lightning flashed, and for a second her reflection looked wrong. Her eyes in the mirror seemed wider, her mouth slightly open even though hers was closed. She blinked, shook her head, and laughed nervously. "Get a grip, Elena." Upstairs, the rooms waited in silence. The wallpaper peeled in strips, furniture covered in dusty white sheets. She could almost imagine footsteps echoing faintly above her. But when she stopped to listen, there was nothing. She picked a bedroom and lit a candle. The shadows danced across the walls. Outside, thunder cracked like splitting wood. As she changed into dry clothes, her phone buzzed weakly, one unread message. From an unknown number. "Do not sleep in the master bedroom." Her stomach twisted. She read it twice, no sender name, no previous texts. She turned toward the door. The house seemed to listen. A floorboard creaked downstairs. Her heart leapt. "Hello?" she called out. No answer. The candle flickered. The flame bent sideways, as if something unseen had just walked past her. She grabbed her phone again, hands trembling, and texted back, "Who is this?" No reply. Her breathing grew shallow. She decided to check the ground floor. Maybe the wind had opened a door. She took the candle and stepped into the hallway. The walls seemed narrower now, darker every few steps. She felt a faint vibration under her feet, like a heartbeat in the floorboards. Halfway down the stairs, lightning lit the house again, and in that blinding flash and for just one heartbeat, she saw her. A woman standing at the end of the hall. White dress, wet hair clinging to her face, bare feet leaving no prints on the wooden floor. The candle slipped from Elena's hand. She gasped and stumbled backward, catching herself on the railing. When she looked again, the woman was gone. The only sound was the rain, and her pulse pounding in her ears. She rushed to the main door and twisted the handle. Locked. She didn't remember locking it. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. "You shouldn't have come here." Her throat tightened. She could feel it now, a presence. Cold air brushing against her skin. The candle, now on the floor, flickered wildly as the temperature dropped. From upstairs came a whisper. Soft, delicate, almost kind. "Elena." Her name. She turned slowly toward the sound, trembling, Who's there? No answer. Then, a reflection caught her eye. In the mirror by the door. The candlelight flickered against it, showing her reflection standing still. But her reflection was smiling. Elena wasn't. The smile grew wider, unnaturally wide, until the corners of the reflection's mouth stretched too far. The candle went out, and in the complete darkness, the whisper came again, right beside her ear this time. Welcome home. The next morning, Elena woke to the sound of dripping water. For a second, she couldn't remember where she was. The ceiling above her was old, cracked and discolored from moisture. The storm outside had stopped, but the world still felt heavy, as if the air itself had soaked up last night's fear. Her phone lay dead on the nightstand. No service, no messages, just a black screen. She rubbed her temples and sat up. The events from last night, the message, the reflection, that whisper, all flooded back in flashes. Had it really happened? Or had her mind played tricks on her after a long, exhausting drive? Just my imagination, she whispered, forcing herself to sound calm. Old houses creak, that's what they do. She made herself some instant coffee in the small, dusty kitchen downstairs. Every movement echoed. The smell of damp wood and mildew filled the air. The morning light did little to comfort her. It only revealed how neglected the place really was. Cobwebs hung like curtains in corners, and faded wallpaper peeled away in jagged strips. Still, she tried to settle in. She unpacked a few boxes, cleaned a bit, and even turned on an old radio she found in the living room. The static-filled air with its soft hum felt comforting until it wasn't. At exactly 11:03 a.m., the radio cut to silence. Then a faint voice came through. Elena. She froze. Her cup slipped from her hand, crashing against the floor. The radio crackled again. The voice was clearer this time. A woman's voice, soft, sad. Why did you come back? Elena's blood ran cold. She rushed to the radio and turned it off. The silence afterward was deafening. Her heart pounded as she backed away. She tried to convince herself it was a broadcast glitch, maybe a coincidence. But the voice had said her name. Later that afternoon, as the storm clouds gathered again, she explored the rest of the house. She moved through dim corridors, past locked doors, and portraits that seemed to watch her wherever she went. There was one hallway she hadn't noticed before, narrow and low-ceilinged, leading to a door with peeling red paint. The handle was cold and stiff, but it turned. The room inside was small, almost like a study. A single window looked out into the backyard, where black crows perched silently on the fence. A dusty chair sat beside a table. On the table lay an old diary, its leather cover cracked and faded. She opened it carefully. The pages were yellowed, the handwriting delicate, looping, almost elegant. He says the house remembers everything. Even screams. Sometimes at night I hear her calling my name from inside the walls. Elena's throat tightened. The name written at the bottom of the page made her skin crawl. Margaret Carter, her last name. She whispered to herself, Carter? That can't be a coincidence. Before she could turn another page, something moved behind her. A faint scraping, like fingernails against plaster. She spun around, eyes wide. Nothing. Then the wall behind her breathed. The wallpaper rippled as if air was pushing from the inside. She stumbled back, heart racing. The sound came again, faint, muffled, but unmistakably human. A whisper. Elena, help me. The candle she'd set on the table flickered violently. The air turned cold, freezing her breath in white puffs. Her instinct screamed to run, but her legs felt heavy, like they'd sunk into the floor. The whisper grew louder, clearer, desperate. She locked me in here. Elena's pulse thundered in her ears. Who are you? She whispered. No response. Only another faint movement inside the wall, as if something or someone was pressing from the other side, trying to get out. A sudden knock echoed through the hallway. 3 sharp knocks. She flinched, turned, and ran to the door. The sound hadn't come from inside the room, but from somewhere deeper in the house. Her footsteps echoed as she hurried back toward the stairs. Every light flickered. Every shadow seemed to stretch. Downstairs, the front door stood wide open. The storm had returned, wind howling through the entryway. And on the floor, a trail of wet footprints, small, bare, leading from the open door toward the living room mirror. Elena's breath caught in her throat. The footprints ended directly in front of the mirror and vanished. Lightning flashed. In the reflection, she saw someone standing behind her again, the same woman from last night. Hair hanging like a curtain, face hidden. This time the reflection spoke. "You shouldn't read her diary." Elena screamed, spinning around, but there was no one. Only empty space. She turned back to the mirror. Now her own reflection looked different. Older, tired. There were faint bruises around her neck that weren't really there. The mirror pulsed, faintly, like a heartbeat. Her phone buzzed again. The same unknown number. "It's not the house that's haunted. It's you." She dropped the phone, her vision spinning, her breathing uneven. "No, that's not true," she whispered. From upstairs, the same voice began humming. Soft, sweet, familiar. It was her voice. Elena backed against the wall, shaking her head. "Stop it! Who are you?" The humming stopped. Silence. Then, a whisper that came from the wall right beside her ear. "You are?" The next morning was gray and silent. The storm had passed, leaving the world washed and hollow. Elena hadn't slept. She sat in the living room, staring at the cracked mirror, her reflection pale and distant. Every creak of the old house made her flinch. Every shadow looked like it was waiting. She whispered to herself, "It's not real. It's just a dream." But her trembling hands told another story. Her phone lay on the table, the screen shattered, the last message still glowing faintly. "It's not the house that's haunted. It's you." She didn't want to believe it. Yet the voice, the diary, the mirror, they all pointed to something personal, something that had followed her here. Trying to distract herself, she picked up the diary again. Flipping through the pages, she noticed that the handwriting began to change. The neat cursive grew messier, more desperate. "She's getting closer. I hear her in the walls. She knows my name now. The door must stay locked. It's the only way to keep her out." The next few pages were ripped. Only one sentence was scrawled across the torn paper in red ink. "Don't open the room beneath the stairs." Elena froze. The room beneath the stairs. She hadn't noticed any door there. Her eyes darted toward the hallway. The air suddenly felt heavy, thick. She grabbed a flashlight and stepped slowly toward the staircase. There it was, a small, almost invisible wooden door built into the side of the stairs, hidden under peeling wallpaper. The lock was rusted shut. Her hands shook as she ran her fingers along the edges. Something inside whispered, faint like a sigh. "Elena." Her flashlight flickered. "No," she said aloud, her voice breaking. Not again. But then she saw it, a fresh fingerprint on the doorknob. Someone or something had touched it recently. Her curiosity burned stronger than her fear. She grabbed a screwdriver from the kitchen drawer and forced the lock. It clicked open with a tired groan. The smell hit her first. Damp wood, rot, and something else. Something metallic. She aimed the flashlight inside. A narrow staircase descended into darkness. Her instincts screamed to stop, but she couldn't. Some force pulled her downward. Each step creaked, echoing through the confined space. The air grew colder, heavier with every breath. At the bottom, she found a small cellar. The walls were covered with old, faded drawings, faces, dozens of them, sketched in black charcoal. Each face looked terrified, mouth open in silent screams. In the center of the room stood a chair, metal, rusted, bolted to the floor. Leather straps hung loosely from its arms, and on the wall behind it, a mirror. The same kind of mirror from upstairs. Elena's flashlight trembled in her hand. Her reflection stared back at her, pale, eyes wide, breath shaky. Then slowly another reflection appeared beside her. The woman, same long hair, same blank face. Elena stumbled back. "What do you want from me?" The woman tilted her head. "You already know." The air around her shimmered. Her face began to change, features shifting, blending, until Elena saw her own face staring back at her. "You locked me down here," the reflection whispered. "You made me forget." "No, that's not true. I never," but memories flooded in. A hospital room, a therapist's voice. Her own reflection in a glass window screaming back at her. Flashes of a time she'd buried. Voices. Shadows, blood on her hands. The truth hit her like ice. This wasn't her first time in this house. This was her house. The diary wasn't written by someone else. It was hers. Margaret Carter was her mother's name. The woman in the mirror wasn't a ghost. She was the part of herself that she had locked away. Her memory. She backed against the wall, shaking her head violently. No, no, no. You're not real. Neither are you. Not completely. The mirror cracked, a spiderweb spreading across the glass. Elena screamed, grabbing a shard that fell to the floor. Her reflection moved exactly as she did, but when she dropped the shard, the reflection didn't. It reached out through the glass. Let me out. The sound of dozens of voices filled the air, the same whispers from before, all chanting, overlapping, calling her name. Elena? Elena, Elena. She stumbled toward the stairs, but the door slammed shut above her. The reflection laughed softly. You can't run from yourself. The whisper grew into a roar. The drawings on the wall started to move, faces twisting, eyes blinking. Elena screamed and smashed the mirror with the flashlight. The glass shattered, but behind it wasn't a wall. It was another room, dark, cold, and in the center of it, a bed. Machines beeped faintly, and on the bed lay her. Elena, pale, motionless, hooked to wires. The reflection whispered from behind her. You never left. You've been here all along. Her mind spiraled, the cellar faded. All that remained was the slow, rhythmic beep of a heart monitor. Then silence. Who are you? Elena's heart stopped. Her altar, her guilt. The reflection smiled sadly. The cellar lights flickered violently, and the walls began to shake. She was trapped. A hospital bed. The sounds dissolved. Everything was white. A blinding, endless white that seemed to stretch forever. Elena opened her eyes slowly, blinking against the light. She wasn't in the cellar anymore. No stairs, no mirror, just silence. She sat up. The bed beneath her was soft, hospital sheets. A faint beeping echoed in the distance. Her heart beat. She looked around. The room was empty except for a single chair and a small, black television in the corner. On the screen, static. She whispered, "Where am I?" Then, through the static, a voice answered, "You're almost home." Her breath hitched. She recognized that voice, soft, calm, familiar. Her mother's voice. She turned, and there she was, Margaret Carter, standing by the door, smiling faintly. But something felt wrong. Her movements were slow, too perfect, almost rehearsed. Elena's lips trembled. "Mom, you're dead. I buried you." Her mother stepped closer. "Did you, darling? Are you sure?" The beeping grew faster. "No," Elena whispered, shaking her head. "This isn't real. None of this is real." Her mother sighed softly. "Reality is what you choose to see, sweetheart. You've been hiding from me for a long time." She gestured toward the TV. "Would you like to remember now?" Before Elena could answer, the screen flickered, showing images. A little girl hiding under a table, crying. A woman screaming in another room. A mirror shattering. Blood. And then, the girl again, holding a shard of glass, whispering, "I didn't mean to." Elena covered her mouth as tears filled her eyes. She remembered now. The house wasn't haunted. The house was her childhood home, and the woman in the mirror was the mother she accidentally killed during one of her breakdowns. The accident had been buried deep, locked away inside her fractured mind. The trauma had created the reflection, a version of her mother that haunted her ever since. Her mother stepped closer. "You locked me away, Elena. You called me a ghost. You told yourself I was the monster." Elena shook her head violently. "No, I was a child." "I didn't know. But now you do." Her mother's voice echoed, multiplying around the room until it felt like it was coming from every direction. The TV flashed again, showing Elena strapped to a hospital bed, surrounded by doctors. Her eyes rolled back, body convulsing. "We're losing her," a nurse shouted. "Increase the dose." Elena stared at the screen in horror. "That's me. But I'm here. I'm awake." Her mother smiled sadly. "No, darling. You've been sleeping for years. Locked in your own mind, Elena stumbled back, gripping the edge of the bed. I can't be dead. I can't. You're not dead. Her mother's voice softened. You're deciding whether to live or stay here. The walls began to shake. The TV flickered violently. The hospital bed in the video was surrounded by alarms. Flatline. Her mother extended her hand. Come home, Elena. Stay with me. Elena's heart ached. Every part of her wanted to take that hand to stop running, to rest. But then faintly, from somewhere beyond the white room, she heard another voice. Elena, wake up. Please wake up. And it was Mara, her best friend, the one who'd brought her to the house. The sound grew louder. Riala. Elena turned back to her mother. I can't. I have to go back. Her mother's smile faded. Go back to what? The pain? The guilt? The mirrors? Elena took a deep breath. Her tears burned hot down her cheeks. I have to face it. I can't hide anymore. The white room began to crack, thin lines spreading like spider webs across the air. Her mother's face flickered, turning pale, empty. You'll regret it, she hissed. You'll see me every time you close your eyes. Elena nodded. I already do. She reached out, not to take her mother's hand, but to touch the mirror that had appeared behind her. Her reflection looked back at her, tired, broken but alive. I'm ready, she whispered, and then she stepped through. The sound of a heart monitor beeped, slowly at first, then faster. Elena gasped. Her eyes flew open. Bright hospital lights blinded her. Mara? She croaked weakly. Mara was there, crying, clutching her hand. Oh my God, you're awake! Elena, you're awake! Doctors rushed in. Voices blurred, machines beeped. But all Elena could see was the reflection in the metal tray beside her bed. For just a second, her mother's face smiled back. Then it was gone. It was morning soft light spilling through the hospital blinds. Elena sat quietly on the bed, staring at her trembling hands. The heart monitor beside her beeped gently, steady and calm. Mara entered with a nervous smile, holding 2 cups of coffee. You scared the hell out of me, she whispered, placing one on the side table. Elena smiled faintly. Guess I scared myself too. They sat in silence for a while. The sound of distant footsteps echoed through the hospital halls. Finally, Mara broke the silence. Elena, you were out for 3 days. The doctor said it was a kind of coma. What happened to you in that house? Elena looked away, her eyes unfocused. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the house wanted me to remember something I'd buried. My mother, the mirror, the blood. She stopped, shivering. Mara placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. It's over now. You're safe. But deep down, Elena wasn't sure. That night, when everyone left, and the hospital grew quiet again, she turned to the small metal tray beside her bed, her reflection staring back at her. For a moment it smiled, but she didn't. Her breath caught. The smile faded as the lights flickered. Not again, she whispered. She reached for the nurse's button, but it didn't work. The machines around her buzzed softly, then fell silent. The only sound left was her heartbeat, echoing through the empty room. She looked up. The door was open just a crack. Someone stood outside. Hello? She called. No answer. The figure moved, slow, shadow-like. Bare feet glided across the floor toward her. As the figure stepped into the light, Elena's pulse stopped. It was her mother again, soaked, eyes hollow and face expressionless. You came back, her mother said calmly. I told you the house doesn't let anyone leave. Elena's body froze. No, this isn't real. Her mother tilted her head. Then why are you still here, Elena? The walls around them began to change, peeling away, revealing faded wallpaper. The white hospital room dissolved, and suddenly she was back in the house. The same house, same smell of wet wood and candle smoke, same whispering wind through broken windows. Her mother stood by the mirror, the same one that had shattered before, now whole again. You can't destroy reflection, my love, she murmured. You only move it from one mirror to another. Elena backed away, trembling. Please stop. I faced the truth. I forgave myself. Her mother smiled gently. Did you? Look closer. The mirror flickered, showing images of Elena's life after her awakening. She saw herself talking to Mara in the hospital, then walking outside, then driving back to her home. Except Her reflection in each scene didn't move in sync. In one frame, her reflection turned toward the camera, eyes completely black, and smiled. "No," Elena whispered. "That's not me. That's not me." You freed yourself from guilt. "But not from me. You are me." Elena spun around, but there was no one there. Her breathing grew shallow. The floor creaked beneath her. The entire house seemed to come alive, whispers from every wall, every floorboard, every shadow. She never left. The house still watches. The mirror remembers. Elena covered her ears. "Stop it! Stop it!" Suddenly, silence. She looked up. The front door was open. Soft daylight streamed through it. Her mother's voice faded into a whisper. "If you want to leave, then don't look back." Elena's tears blurred her vision. She ran toward the light, every step heavier than the last. She crossed the threshold, out into the morning air. The rain-washed ground gleamed beneath her feet. She turned once, just once, to look back at the house. It was gone. Only an empty field stood there. Her chest heaved. She laughed in disbelief. "It's over. It's really over." She dropped to her knees, crying, the wind carrying her sobs into the distance. Months later, Elena had moved to a new city, therapy, new job, new apartment. Her life finally felt normal. One evening, she received a package at her door. No return address. Inside was a small mirror, wrapped in old newspaper. Her heart raced. She picked it up carefully. In the glass, she saw her reflection, tired, calm, normal. But as she turned to place it on the table, her reflection didn't move. Instead, it smiled and whispered, "Welcome home." The mirror cracked from the center. A faint voice echoed inside it. "No one ever leaves." Epilogue. A week later, Mara received a call from Elena's landlord. They found her apartment empty. No sign of struggle, just a broken mirror on the floor. And on the wall above it, written in dust, "The house is watching.